Good evening. Good evening. Uh, wow. This is gonna be a long one, I think. First of all, secondly, everyone is unblocked, so that anyone that would like to come up, please do not hesitate once we open it up to that part. I just asked that I won't. I'm not going to mix things I have going on the internet, and have weak-minded people come and say Nicolina is doing this or that with Benny, because that's not the case. This is a fact-finding exposition, and it just so happens that Nicolina has a wealth of information, or rather, the wealth of information, and I really appreciate her putting any issues she may have with me to the side in order to address the greater good of this community. Um, I have caught the gist of what Miss Nicolina has put together with her ex. Her is Alicia. Is that correct? Am I pronouncing that correct? Alicia?
Oh, it's definitely Alicia.
I'm sorry, I don't know why I have this overlay up. It is definitely Alicia. Uh,
So I remember when she first came into your chat a year or so ago, and I had referred to her when on your panel is Mamita Alicia. And she said, "Oh my gosh, Mammy," or whatever, "you actually pronounced my name correctly." And it's definitely not Alicia, it's Alicia.
so that was like your very first interaction with her. Let's just for the sake of doing it, let's skip all the way to the last situation that you had with her. What did that look like?
Well, prior to us departing from your community, she had told me she was in a relationship with you, and it had to be kept quiet until your divorce was over.
Okay.
I thought that was very weird and awkward that I would hear that from her versus hearing it from you, which I spoke to almost on a daily basis. I thought that was very weird, but I also understand relationships, they're awkward, right? Especially if you're in the public eye.
Okay.
Um, the very, very last, and that was on me, she decided to start her own channel. And I was in her very first live watching from the bushes. And this woman, and she had said this previously,
Uh-huh.
that she wanted to be able to help mothers who needed help, and that she worked for Children Protective Services.
Hmm.
And I already knew that not to be the case. I already knew that wasn't true because after we all broke apart, I went and found everything about Alicia. She's not. Hey, wait a minute. I got a question.
Hmm.
You look pretty good for a honky. You got $20 in that pocket?
I
Have
do actually.
you thrift shopping?
I've been through. No, this actually is a very expensive suit jacket. This one,
Yeah?
oh, stick. Okay, yeah.
You
The
got
list- the list-
$20 in your pocket?
yeah, I got $20 in my pocket, and I got a good piece of game. No, this is actually expensive suit coat that my dad gave me. It's not long enough, but it's wide enough. So
All right.
thank you, thank you. Um,
He's a cold ass honky.
I was trying to get the fucking Snapchat filter to work. The Snapchat gives me 3 years, right? It just tightens me up around the eyes. I see why you ladies fuck with the Botox. I'm thinking about fucking with the Botox. No,
Don't fuck with the Botox, dude. Own your age. Own your age.
So let me ask you, and then I want to kind of segue into what my issue with her was. But I want to know, like, what was initially you felt okay with the woman? Like, you felt that she was of standard to be in the community with the rest of us?
Yeah, at the time, I thought she came off very strong.
Yes, she did.
She wanted my phone number, which I don't give a crap if anyone has my phone number. And I have oodles of text messages still in my phone. Anytime I was up on your panel, she was text messaging me, and she was like a dog pissing on a tree. And I really believed that you guys had something going on outside of YouTube. So I wasn't going to disrespect that, because it's not my place to say, hey, Benny, do you guys have something going on? Why would this woman, and your lighting is horrible, by the way.
I know, thank you.
You need to turn around. I think you should turn your whole body around. Yeah.
Thank you for that, actually.
Well, I mean,
you're good at this. You're good at this shit.
You can't groom me, bro. Stop it.
You're good at this shit.
But who am I to question that there may be a relationship outside of YouTube? And I'm not going to disrupt that. So I had some automatic respect for her, because at that time I had respect for you. Right. And you were an important part of my YouTube life. Right. So why would I not believe what she's saying? Right. But that was, again, in my infancy on YouTube, before I was aware how prolific lying was.
And how accepted it is, right? Like, it's like you can sometimes look like a very strange, odd person out if you're one of the few that tell the truth about something, right? It is. And I've been dealing with that, Nickilina, and we'll get on to some more stuff here in just a few minutes. But that's one of the things that I deal with on the internet with the genre, is what's socially expected and what's morally accepted, right? Those things, they collide in real life back here in a way sometimes that I know I haven't always made the right decision. Now, I'll tell you that maybe you don't know, but a couple of hours ago, Alisha, I keep wanting to call her Alicia, but I'm going to even call the lady her name, Alisha, right? She, I guess, removed her channel. Is that so?
I don't know, but maybe she did, because she knows that it's about to rain.
And I thought that was an interesting sort of wild card that she could play, that she's been in here dealing with all these women having no problem. But then as soon as I scheduled something with you this morning, now there's this talk in other discords like Tiffany Marie's from her, where she's like, she feel her and her kids are in danger. They're this.
They are not.
And that's what I wanted to segue to, is that I now find it easier to look at her like somebody that used her children as a shield, so to speak.
She used her children as a way to manipulate other people to elicit sympathy. She's right. Not in danger, neither are her children.
She wouldn't be online, in my opinion, plastering her face and opinion in the inside of her house all over the internet if she was afraid of anything. Correct. That segues me to, we'll call him Mr. K. You, with your resources, were able to find out who the gentleman was, locate him, and then speak with him. Now, I have my own issues. You have your own issues with me. But one thing that I do know is that you're resourceful, and that if you feel like you've been lied to, you will scour the fucking earth. And when I heard about him, well, I heard that you've been talking to him, and then heard the video or the audio call with him, I really received a real genuineness from that dude.
No, so did I. So, okay, so there were a lot of red flags with her to begin with. The whole, she's in hiding with her children. If I'm in hiding from somebody that she has proclaimed to be psychotic, abusive, and I'm in hiding, I'm definitely not going to be on a platform where I'm talking on panels where people can see me over and over and over again. I'm literally going to be in hiding, right?
Absolutely. All the way 100%.
That was red flag number one. Red flag number two was saying that she worked for CPS in her home state. So when I looked into her, it was her mom that actually is a supervisor for CPS. Her now deceased stepfather, rest in peace, he was killed in the line of duty
For your service, sir.
when he went to a domestic violence call. There's no Hispanic lineage at all. She assumed the identity and misappropriated the Latin American
Aspect.
yeah.
Yeah, that angle.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was something, and we spoke about this too. I said I thought that perhaps she had done it before hearing Mr. K. I had presumed she had put it on for me because she thought I had a type in that way.
Well, you do have a type.
I wasn't. She had been doing this, right?
Right. I think you do have a type, and your type is Latina, Hispanic. And if I'm chopping up,
no, you're fine.
Not trying to fuck anything up, but
nothing up.
And I thought it was because she was trying to get in with you. God, you're fucking me up with that suit coat.
Is it hard to look at or what?
It's kind of silly, but
okay, good.
It is what it is. So then after speaking with Kay, she also introduced herself to him as Alicia. He had no idea that she was not of Hispanic origin.
So he got with her thinking that she was actually.
Correct. And mind you, all of her kids, except for the oldest, are his children.
Okay.
So
he has 3 with her, and then 1 is from somewhere else.
Yeah, and that doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is she went on so long misappropriating her culture or someone else's culture. And when he met her family and he was referring to her, and I have all the receipts as Alicia, her family was like, why are you calling her Alicia when her name is Alisha? That was one of the first things he said to me, and I didn't even prompt him. And he goes, oh, and let me guess. She's saying that her name's Alicia. It's Alisha. I didn't even have to ask him.
Wow. It was one of the issues that has been a speed bump in their existence together, clearly. I mean, if he brought it up like that.
Yeah.
So when I bumped into her as a Hispanic lady. I was under the impression she was Hispanic. It fit the bill with the way she texted and some of the way that she would respond to different things. The ja.
Yeah.
It's like some real
Mexican all of that shit in chat.
That's some real that's like how like authentic Mexican women, not even like Tex-Mex women, right? Not women that are second or third generation or maybe were born there and I'm talking about they like un-Americanized all the way yet. Or I mean, you know, not all the way Americanized. When they text, they still put that in there. And it became clear to me, and I'm going to jump back and forth a little bit in terms of that, but I want to meet the racial aspect first. That I then realized that she wasn't Latin American, but that she had the stepfather that had, you know, been in her life since whenever and was a strong influence, and she considered this guy her dad, and that was the, you know, the strong Hispanic influence into her life. And I just sort of accepted it as like, okay, well, that seemed like it was pretty painless, right? Because I that was one of the things, right? I guess I do have a type, Nickilina. You're right.
I know you have a type.
I have a type. So once it didn't fit the bill, I was like, okay, what else is going on with this situation? And it was like, so that happened, bam, and then the whole thing with the legal kidnappers, right?
You have to expound more on that because yes. I don't have a lot of info on that.
There was a time in the case real early on, Nickilina, where Andrew Hiltz, which is the father of H, who was there allegedly swimming that day with Candace and them. And there was the stuff that had happened after Summer Wells at day 15, June 15th. At some point, short after that, Mr. Hiltz gets in touch with this guy, Jeremy Dugan. This guy is the proprietor of an agency called Human Aid Solutions. Okay. This thing is co-run by his wife, Miss Val, and then they have on the fringe the people they sort of use as the mercenaries of the movement, right? Is the Bikers Against Child Abuse or whatever, BACA, right? So the guy that runs BACA is Paul Leedy, and Paul, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Paul, we'll call him Paul, has some sex crimes for using pictures for the promotion of rape. He's got a couple of or a few impersonating police. This group of men and a woman were charged with the task through a New York court to go do illegal kidnapping. In which,
oh, I remember that.
Yes, right now when you in the Summer Wells community, right, the house is burning. You've got someone like Alisha, who ran back into the burning building, right? So she wasn't dealing with the Human Aid Solution legal kidnappers and the biker impersonator guys. She wasn't dealing with them people before the shit happened, which could be understood, right? It's like, okay, you're dealing with these people, they get involved in some shit, and then you're like, damn, I'm involved with these people in a way that, you know, now I'm kind of a part of this thing proxy, right? No, they did the legal kidnapping, all this shit went hairy on the internet, and then Alisha went to them. And when I found that out, and then she expounded and was like, you know, she, you know what I'm saying, had business, phone, cell data, a service with like Sprint or somebody, a business account in which she was in charge of the bill now, or was in charge of the bill.
So she was
kidnappers.
So she was involved with what happened to H.
You might could say I don't know all. I never got the shit out of the messages, right? She let me in there to see. It was a message board on Facebook that had her, Val. She was telling me how these people were allegedly, they would get at-risk women, marginalized women, pull them out of bad situations. And then this other guy, Paul, would, or whoever in the organization end up in a sexual relationship with these women.
Wow.
Who they just pulled out of fucked up deals. And I'm like, what could possibly be appealing? Like, I get now she got a situation with her own kids, it looks like, with a dude. Like, the dude comes to the line. Do you feel like she ran him away from his children in sort of a way? That's the feeling I got.
So when I found him, and listen, she helped dox me. I know she did. And then she had this very, oh, well, yeah, I used to help, but now I've changed, which then at some point that made it to where she no longer had to be held accountable. And this was back in, I believe, January. And she manipulated people in my community into thinking she was just some sweet, innocent, abused woman, single mother. And so of course, we all in the Mean Girls chat did our due diligence, just like we did in other cases. And Soul Searching Sisters, it was actually on your panel. Please, ma'am, be honest. And we were able to find the name of her ex on her Facebook. So I found him and I reached out to him, and he was very forthright. He's like, in hiding from me, I'm not looking for her. I have run as far away from her as possible because she has caused so much damage. And I then said, have you ever been to prison or jail for any type of abuse? And he said, absolutely not. He said, I will be 100% honest with you. She and I both had a heroin addiction. This heroin addiction, I got caught up, I got charged, and he was like, this is where you can go reference it and find the proof. I have never been charged with any type of assault, domestic violence, nothing. So they both were heroin addicts, and he told me, and the reason I went and looked for him is because she was e-begging on Jimbo's channel for rent money, saying she couldn't work. Well, she doesn't work. And he has the friend of the court papers to prove that she doesn't work. Her income is zero. So the state had to put her income, the friend of the court had to put her income in at minimum wage full time. He pays a pretty large amount of money every month. And he said, why is she asking people for rent money when she lives in subsidized housing? And my child support, along with the other father's child support, is more than enough. It sounds like she may have relapsed. Her rent is $25 a month.
Oops, I was muted. She doesn't actually work for the CPS then, I guess.
She doesn't have a job at all.
Wow,
the CPS paper, or not CPS, the front of the court papers, and I can't remember the name of it in her state, and I'm not going to say her state, show that she absolutely does not have a job. And he has made it a point that he wanted to have a relationship with his kids, but she made it absolutely impossible. And he said, she said she has made it impossible, and she is one of the people that will create a problem to be a victim, and then she will be a savior after that, and then try to be the hero in every situation that she creates.
Yeah,
like,
we talked.
Listen, I have a lot of communication with him. This man, he is not lying.
You know, I felt like when I listened to the dude on your panel. Let me ask you this: had you heard anything in the YouTube streets or whatever that she was gonna like? Did she say anything like, "Oh, he's gonna be in trouble for doing that," or any of that kind of shit?
No, I haven't.
No response to
I don't pay much attention
around at all.
I think him being on my live on Saturday probably made her shit her pants. He said everything that she says is a lie. So it gets so bad that she will file complaint after complaint after complaint, despite the fact that he is not behind in child support, just to force him into court, where now the court does not make him show up in person. He can show up via Zoom. He goes, I ain't looking for her. I am avoiding her at all costs. I want nothing to do with her. And sadly, that means my kids as well, because anytime I'm trying to have a relationship with my kids, she makes up things, and it puts me at risk of being in trouble. So now I have been forced to, and I'm paraphrasing, he has been forced to not have a relationship with his children.
Quite naturally.
It's parental alienation. Your signal is horrible.
Wow. Yeah, I'm about to step inside. There's sort of some clouds that just moved in, and it got much darker. And yeah, the signal kind of went with that. So I apologize for that. So when I listened to the gentleman, I got the distinct feeling that he had potentially encountered a scenario that he may have just had to avoid in order for self-preservation, right?
Yes, correct. And he has said he has
I was
deep
too in the
regrets.
situation. I'm sorry.
He has deep regrets. He wants nothing more than to have a relationship with his children. But for his own self-preservation, he can't. And I understand that. There are women, more women than men out there that will go to any length to destroy the man that they have had children with in order to have 100% complete control of every situation.
Control. That's what it's all about, usually, right? I mean, in a lot of cases.
Absolutely.
So you've obviously tried to confront her directly about, let me step back. Now, laying out the legal kidnapping, there's all these strange prefaces that you have to, Nickilina, in this community, when you're trying to like detail information. A lot of times you're like, well, okay, it looks like this, but there's all these other things that it also could be. And if you don't lay out some of the big ones that they could be, if the scenario dictates a different answer than what you said, then, well, Benny said this, but well, it's because it may look like that. You can context it that way in the war of context, but it actually is something that it should have went without saying, right? It's one of those things. And
that was kind of word salad. Can you reword that?
Like, so let me be very precise then. She came around and I didn't see a problem with her because I was also not digging through everybody's information, right?
And you weren't plugged in.
No, I wasn't plugged in like that. And the lady came around and I just took it for the face value, completely for the face value. When I did that, when emails would pop up saying, oh, Alicia did this and Alicia did that, if it said Alicia, I've said it before. Alisha, sorry. I turned my head, not because I was like, well, if she's doing fuck shit, I hope she gets away with it. Nothing like that. It was just like, who is this lady? She keeps popping up. She keeps popping up. And so I didn't really want to have to do this today, not because of any other reason that it seems like it's messy business, right? It's messy business to me sometimes. But there's a lot of people that she has really hurt, a lot of people. And that I gave her the initial platform, and I can't.
I mean, listen. You could actually package that the same with me, saying you initially gave me a platform, but I'm my own fucking person, right?
Very true.
I think Alisha wanted an in, and she did try to control things outside of YouTube, outside of lives, outside of your chat and Discord. She was manipulating. I know she was trying to manipulate me. You know what I mean? Like anyone that comes on strong, oh, I think you're amazing. You're so awesome. You're disingenuous to me from out of the gate when you don't know me, right?
It's called love bombing. I've come to find out.
It is.
Is that what you call it? Love bombing?
But a lot of people overuse that term, but it's disingenuous.
Yeah.
It's disingenuous, but it's her way of manipulating outside of your community. And she was trying to exert as if she was some main bitch. This is fucking YouTube, man.
Right.
This is YouTube.
I think that because I didn't want any problems with anybody, like I had really with the initial first few things with the young lady, I had kind of reached a threshold where I was like, man, like, no, this is too much, no more. And so to step back meant that like she kind of had a free reign, right? So I saw that she was groomed. Looking back right now, I see that she was grooming everyone for a long time. She would take one step at a time, and it'd be the next extreme.
One person at a time.
One person at a time, and she could say this. And when Benny is not running around, because he's not concerned with that. When he's not running around behind it, cleaning it all up into the dustpan, right? It becomes what it's become. Right. I could have stopped a lot of this shit a long time ago. I believe I will accept.
Come on.
I mean, but she's a different kind of anomaly to me. Right. You were pretty straightforward with the issues you have with me. Like that one has said everything from relapses to this, to that. There's many women that have come forward, Nickilina, I don't even know, 20, 30, 40, who say they know my whole life because they think they know it from her.
I'm telling you, she had me convinced that you guys had a thing going on outside of YouTube. And at that point, who was I to question that? Because I don't know, and it's not my fucking business. And even when we were cool and then not cool, it still wasn't my business. That's why I gave her a lot of shit on even like my panels and saying, "Oh, but you know, I thought BK and you were going to start dating and get married." You know what I mean? Same thing as another person in the community. They both thought they both told me they were in a relationship with you, and I was like, I mean, I know BK has a harem of ladies, but this is audacious. But who's
I mean, I don't have a Molly go lightly or anything like that, but I mean, I have some good ladies around me, you know.
She had enough audacity to call and text me and tell me. When I brought it out publicly, she vehemently denied it. That was, what am I going to do? Am I going to drag this bitch over and over? She's nobody, in my opinion, in my life, in real life. But she is on the outside of YouTube I mean, we all would say it. You would have another female on panel. She would jump up on panel and she was just pissed. And I'm like, maybe they are dating. Why is she having all this jealousy? Because you are over flirtatious in general, your personality.
I agree. I agree.
But it would be whether it was your panel, you were on another person's panel, Gavel Geeks, Ziggy, whomever's. If you were on panel, she would try to hop up. And I'm like, maybe they are dating. I don't know. Yeah, C'est La Vie does have proof as well.
C'est La Vie. I know she's got proof.
She has proof from Alisha herself.
Proof of what? That she's lying? Of course.
Well, I mean, stating that you guys were in a relationship.
Now, so I guess the type thing kicked in, right? The type thing kicked in, and I'm like, I never had any out of color conversation with that woman. I'll say it publicly. I've said it privately. I never shared nothing with that lady. It was always on the business because it came in speculative with the, you know, is she Latin thing, right?
I mean, I'm not going to porn bomb you. I want to show you guys that are watching that may not believe what I'm fucking saying. I'm going to show you these from afar, all these text messages between me and Kay that go back to about actually a month ago yesterday.
And to catch everyone up, Kay is the baby daddy.
Yeah. I mean, this is
the holy shit, that one foot
that's him. That's him.
He's great, right?
Yeah. He had a lot to say. A lot to say. I will send you the screenshots if needed. I am telling you, this woman is psychotic. She would get close to any woman that she thought may have been in her way, she would try to get close to them.
Wow. I cannot tell you the number of women. I would probably say, no bullshit, maybe 75, 60, 75, probably conservatively, of people that are coming to me regularly right now telling me about bad shit that happened with this lady.
She does not work. No, Sarah smiles. She does not work. Sorry, Ashton and Maggie are in the background. Yeah, that's fine. You can take the towel. Well, then take my car. She does not work. According to the friend of the court paperwork that she submits, she has no job.
You know, I was duped by the woman. I spoke about this privately, Nickilina. I was duped. Anytime somebody would bring up someone's child, and Nickilina has always been very staunch on this opinion, and I appreciate that about her. But anytime someone would bring up someone's child on the internet and then throw a Cash App in the mix and then ask anyone to take any of it seriously, like I stopped even caring about even what my daughter was putting herself into by getting involved with Ernie Shell, Jimbo's, shit like that, lockdown radio. I had to stop caring about it. And when I did that, she came to me and she's like, listen, this shit that I'm seeing over there that's happening with her right there and whatever, she's like, that's child abuse, right? And I'm a mandated reporter. And so I've got a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And it ended up with me giving her some information. I don't know if she ever actually filed something. She said she did. And it was always with the, hey, because I'm a mandated reporter, they take it differently when I do it.
No, that's not true. That's not true. Because then you would have evidence of action because as a parent to a minor, anytime CPS is called, even in another state, they would contact you, right?
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. They would have came straight back to me. They'd be like, hey, they started a CPS case with your daughter. Like when they start a CPS case with even they've started them with just the other little girl. I won't go too far into that, but they notify me, hey, there's a child living in the same house as your house and there's this going on. And no, I never got any of that.
And I would just like to say for the highlighted message from a minute ago, I don't always have to show you receipts.
That's eloquently put. That's eloquently put.
I don't know anyone anything. But what I would like to say is no matter how I feel about you, what those people did with Breezy, it was nauseating.
Yeah, it was.
It was nauseating.
Because there's, I won't ever come here and show you. But, God bless everyone, right? I gotta want everything for everyone else that I want for myself. That's some more words.
I want people to leave minor children and or adult children alone. It's not anyone's place just because you have a problem with the creator. What you're doing is punishing family members that have nothing to do with what we do on the internet.
Eloquently put again. Eloquently put.
It doesn't matter how I feel about you. If it was somebody, not just you, anyone, right. It's not okay.
How many people do you think that you've had direct contact with that have had some sort of story that fits into all of this?
With Alisha? Mm-hmm. I would say probably 5. 5 people that actually addressed it with me, not what I have seen on YouTube, but personally said, whether it's texts, phone calls, emails, going, who does this woman think she is?
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know.
And they pretty much had a pretty continuous story with everything else that everyone else has encountered, basically, I would say, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. If you were let's say if you were the proverbial executioner in this community, or let's say just in your community, what would be her punishment, her cyber punishment for all this? That's an interesting question, isn't it? What would be her cyber punishment?
I just like to put people in their place regardless, and people put me in my place.
Do you think do you think there's any place for someone like that on the internet?
I think when you come to the internet and you pretend to be a victim and you lie about everything in your life and how you have to be in hiding, but show your face and panel hop and have a channel, fuck off.
Yeah.
You can't be that scared and you can't be in hiding, because I know if I was legitimately in hiding, you wouldn't see me here.
No, you'd be very good at hiding too. You wouldn't ever let the guys sneak up on you and, I don't know, pop your tires when he's in rehab and shit.
Oh yeah, well, he wasn't in rehab. This guy was in jail. He was in jail for drugs, not abuse, but she'll just make shit up to call victimhood. It's like the culling. She needs to be a victim, and that is exactly what Kay said. She creates the problem to be the victim, and then she has to be the savior, and she's very But I've seen that. When I've watched a couple of her lives, I was like, this is cringe as fuck. This bitch is fake.
Barry, I wanted to pull this up because it goes right along with what you're saying, Nickilina, and that is, so what she's really telling you about here is hero syndrome. That's someone that, for instance, might set a fire, come around, put it out, become a victim and a hero all at the same time, and it doesn't necessarily.
Benny, I'm sorry. Hold on. Pause, Benny. Pause, Benny. Can I just say something? This chat is optional. If you cannot follow the fucking rules of the chat, we can turn it off. If you have a problem with Nickilina, you can email her. I'm sure she'll be open to corresponding with you. This isn't place. This isn't the topic. This isn't the time.
No,
Shut the fuck up. Stop airing your grievances here in this chat right now on this topic, or get put out. Period.
Yeah, please
email her.
We don't she's here as a guest, please. There's a lot of people here that used to be moderators. There's people here that I've had issues with. I understand. Maybe I should have went a little bit deeper with the context on what today is, and that's a fact-finding mission because there's a lot of people in the wake of one person, and these people aren't here right now. It's us, right? So
stay on topic. Think objectively. Focus on what the fuck we're talking about.
But Fizzle's not even being aggressive public house landlord. She's telling you, knock your shit off. Respect it. Jesus.
Thank you for that.
It's real simple. It's real simple. Okay, I'm going back.
And may I address, yes, I have brought kids up and spoke about kids, but it'll be a cold day in hell that you see me go after a teenager, young adult that has gone through some shit and bring them up on my panel to further victimize them. Your minor children that I may talk about and may say some shit about, they don't know about it. I ain't bringing kids up.
And I'll tell you this, that, I know that there's a lot of creators that if they feel like they go too far, they still have the wherewithal to remove certain shit. And I'll say that Nickilina has removed some stuff in the past that didn't serve whatever. So this isn't really about Nickilina or me and Nickilina. This is about Alisha. And I guess everyone has been on task except for one person. Is that what I gather? If it happens again, put them out. Because there's no one.
It's not one person. It's a few people coming in here trying to air their grievances and, saying stuff like, well, we'll remember that whenever the next attack is about Benny. Okay, fine. Fuck it. We'll handle it then. This isn't about Benny. This isn't about Nickilina. This is about one person. One person.
And I think that when you apply the logic to it, people can really respect the fact that Nickilina and I might get together for one common good in this sense, right? Like, get your head out of your
Holy
head.
Fuck. God, if they can't respect it, just shut the fuck up and listen. Holy shit.
So
thank you to my community in here being respectful of BK. Yes, I do truly appreciate that. You're acting like adults. I do appreciate that because we are guests over here. We talked about it privately. Everyone okayed me being over here, and I appreciate the fact that you are being respectful of BK's channel.
Thank you. And it's not our people either. I'm looking through it's people I've never even fucking seen before.
We know who they are.
Yeah.
We know what community they're hailing from.
Yep, absolutely. So when we go from Nickilina's on set with pronouncing the name correctly and all that, that's her segue in. You've heard my take on the legal kidnapper aspect, which now I wanted to, because I got to preface it, because I'm a true crime aficionado to probably an obsessive degree, right? So much so that in the last 3 cases I've had some kind of contact via internet or email with the parents of children who are on the fritz, right? So I dig it, but she sort of popped up when I dug into Jeremy Dugan and all of that connection, Another Good Time. And
She popped up last March, April.
yeah. Yeah, and it coincided with me talking about all of that situation, which was the legal kidnapping.
Yep. I
And
remember that live.
I was floored. Once, I mean, I stepped back and really like probably contacted Fizzle or someone who was like, holy shit. Like this lady, she'd been fucking dealing with legal kidnappers and shit. And not before they were legal kidnappers, but after they hit the big time in the Summer Wells case, right?
Yeah. And then they perfected their game.
They're trying to every day, I think. Every day trying to perfect that, because there must be some huge payoff to, you know, pulling off a legal kidnapping. I don't know. Do you have anyone on your side that may have helped? And this is the tough question, I guess. You know anyone who may have contributed financially with money to Alisha? No. Okay.
Not that I affiliate with, no.
Okay. But I guess you've seen other stuff on the internet where she has. Okay.
Yes.
That sort of seems to be, I've got a lot of people still contacting me that are concerned, you know, about, she's always saying her kids are sick. Did she ever say that to you a lot?
Not to me, because I won't affiliate with her, but I have seen her, like I said, over in the stands chat saying because her kids were sick and they were sick and they were sick and they were sick, she couldn't work. She needed money for rent. She does not work. Like I told you, with the communications with her ex K, she has told the court she does not work. She is a full-time stay-at-home mom. She lives in subsidized housing. He pays more than enough, he said, in child support every single month, aside along with her oldest child's father. And there is never been a need. That's why he told me he thinks that she relapsed.
Which would be, you know, which could be detrimental. And I don't, you know, fortunately, I don't have a comment on, that, because it's a touchy place as a man creator. I know Nickilina probably, she understands the dynamic. Like there's some things a woman can pull off and then some things that a man can't.
Correct. And a child will have the sniffles and they're running them to the emergency department. They're not being hospitalized. I do believe I did see that there was at one point, one of the kids did have to be hospitalized, but that would not have affected her income because she does not work. Again, when I saw her begging for rent, that's when I decided to reach out to Kay. What's the deal?
Right. And to preface, you had actually offered me, you know, you want to do this or that. And I said, you know, as a male creator, like there's always that very tricky real estate where there could be women that have, I've discussed with me intimate details of their life, and that they may lack a confidence after seeing me do certain things. And I felt like it was powerful what Kay had to say. And this is where I'll plug Nickilina's channel. It's actually her backup channel. Is that correct?
Yep.
It's her backup channel. And you can find, it is a picture of Nickilina with, it was
Saturday.
St. Patrick's Day.
It was my live from Saturday after I was streaming Lady Artemis, and
picture of her in green. You can find it there.
Yep. And he called me on Messenger, and he was very forthright.
It's about 3/4 of the way through the video, correct?
Yep. Correct.
Correct. If you wanted to actually hear what I found to be kind of a heartbreaking, because I've been through the same shit that dude, but mine was 20 years ago, right?
Yeah. But it has long-lasting effects on the father and the child.
And kids. Yeah. And I just, I pray that dude ultimately get the opportunity to actually be a part of his kid's life, if that's what he, can responsibly handle one day. I do. But I heard my story when he told his story.
Yep. And many men have the same story. That's why you'll always see me bend over backwards to co-parent because it is not about me. It is not about my ego. It is about the child having two parents that love their child enough to
And they
set
can have an
aside.
economy between them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there has to be a commerce of time and respect and patience in those things. And maybe that's a takeaway. One of the takeaways of this video is, man, if you're a co-parent, work on your co-parenting. Give it a little more time. Whatever you can do. Nickilina, do you have anything to add?
I do not. I'm glad I could help you. I have, again, my own personal vendetta towards Alisha because she's very manipulative. She likes to cause strife where the strife doesn't need to be. She doesn't take any responsibility for anything she does. It's always the whole, the fake victim, oh, woe is me. Own your shit, move on. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having the people from my community be able to come over and support this. So with that, I gotta go. I gotta make supper for the family.
Get you some supper cooking.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us. I hope that the community at large, and I want to preface this before I open up the panel. I know that there are some people that want to come up and use their voice, and I want to open it up. I understand that there's lots that don't want to talk, and they just, whether they don't care or maybe whether they're embarrassed, I don't know. I'm here to tell you have nothing to be embarrassed of. You're here in these communities to show compassion for something, a cause to something, right? So much so that people that perceivably to the other people on the internet may feel and think don't like each other or cannot get together for the common good. When it started affecting other people is when I had a problem with it. When it started affecting other people, because it had already affected me in a way, in my own way. So I understood that if it was affecting me or I felt like it had affected me, it's a really very good chance that the people that are saying they're affected by it are actually being affected by it, right? So I understand that the scenarios changed though as it navigated through the period in time when there was a public affiliation between this channel, my other channel, and the TM channel, right? A lot of things changed, right? And I'm not gonna park it up there. We're not gonna talk about that very long. I'm just saying that I understand a lot of the different dynamics, right? So I want to open up this portion of the segment to, people who feel like they're survivors of the situation, survivors of the woman, whatever the case may be. Hey, Fizzle, can we slow down the chat? Casey just asked me like 8 minutes ago.
Yeah, I did. I slowed it down to 15 seconds. Does it need to go down more?
No, not that she says so far. All right. Thank you.
To the comment on the screen, nicely insane. Fizzle could do with being a little less aggressive and maybe we could get somewhere. Yeah, you just need to shut up. You have no idea what all has transpired. This is nowhere near the aggression that I feel. All we asked was one motherfucking thing, was to be respectful of the panel guests, and it couldn't even happen. So whenever somebody,
and with that being said, though, you look in and you're like, it's a dude that's probably a chick, or it's probably the demographic here.
The troll. It's a fucking troll.
It's a lady with a curled up mustache asking, can someone that actually handles shit be less aggressive? That's cute. That's cute.
You have no idea. You just don't even know what you're talking about. We asked one thing, chat. Some people in the chat couldn't fucking follow the rules, so they got handled, and that's what it was. If you don't like it, you do not have to be here.
The one thing that I can say is that I'm very impressed with everyone that has been here to get the goods. I'm impressed with everyone's interactions tonight, except for the handful. And it sucks that sometimes we gotta show the handful.
They weren't ours and they weren't hers. So there's people I've never even fucking seen before that can just go sit the fuck down over there with whoever the fuck they came from.
I'm gonna go ahead and open up. I want to open up the scenario. I know that there is a few women that want to come over and speak their piece. There's a couple of people. I don't know how many are actually going to take the plunge, but I have put into the consortium the link to, and I'm going to ask you right now. Thank you, Miss Artillery. I'm just seeing some as I go. I want to open up the panel to anyone else that would like to come in. Hey, Oakley. Hey, Grandma. Hey, Miss Watkins. How you doing, baby? Miss Liplock. I see D-Boss. Liplock no more, baby. Crimes have consequences.
There's a lot of people here who have no idea about her, but they're here for it. You know, they're here to listen, here to hear us out, and all that stuff. And that's great. I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll.
Sure.
I had started a poll, and we will go ahead and end that. If I can click it, there you go. End poll.
Thank you for being here. And I definitely, I'm not here to step on toes. No, Nickilina's not flip-flopping. No, we're not flip-flopping. We're not doing it. It's no flip-flopping. Like,
it's called being an adult.
Being an adult right? There is no flip-flop. That's an internet thing.
And let me tell you what. So what? So what? So the fuck what? If she wants to be your friend or you want to be her friend, so
thank you for that too. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So I'm going to open it up. Is there anyone that would like to come up, hold, speak now, or forever hold your peace?
I put the link in Discord. I think we were waiting on Miss Persevere. I'm not sure what Lil G's, if she made up her mind whether or not she was gonna say something. I think Lily wanted to come up, and also Kira. So we can drop the link in chat. I'm pretty sure you know how to handle, make sure you don't get, bombed with a eggplant and all that jazz.
Yeah. No, I think that if at this point, it would have to have been an exhibitionist or Alisha, because I don't think that there's anyone that's trying to, that no one's trying to deflect anything that we're talking about. No one's, I had made the video before this, where I actually, showed the suit code, and I'm like, listen, God, while I was getting my head together, God had put it on my heart, like, man, come on.
Do you know if Tiffany ever wrenched Mamita? I don't think she did, Hills. I don't think she did.
Great video, Hills. Wonderful. I'm glad that Molly's mom is, again, can we get some prayer hands in the chat for Molly's mom? Full recovery, hopefully. It's great stuff.
I don't think she did. I think Tiffany was kind of sketched by Mamita a little bit too, but I'll leave that for them to deal with.
But yeah, we can't even speak on that because we don't know.
A little bit, but we'll leave that for them to deal with. I mean,
yeah, amen. Yeah.
That ain't my problem no more. So.
Yeah. Let's switch off the computer for just a moment. Okay, we have a taker. Let me go ahead and.
What is that?
Not sure. We're gonna find out though. Now, thank you, Nickilina, for asking me back behind the stage. She says, "What is?" Hey, how you doing, Mr. Public?
I'm all right.
I'm sorry, you had an echo, sir.
Oh shit! I'll sort the echo out.
Okay, thank you. What did you say, sir?
He's gone.
Okay. Miss Nickilina was like, "Hey man, what's going on with the Legos?" Because clearly you can all see dealing with Mamita was like Legos. It's
frustrating.
as hell, because then you realize like this picture here particularly woke up to this. And it was a crapshoot. Every single piece I grabbed is they're not going like, because we have built the sets and he's missed one of the pieces, only to find it later on. And so there's always a particular type of, it's like a mood I put on. It's like a punishment. Like, okay, yep, you're gonna punish yourself with some Legos this morning. Try to choke down some coffee and try to keep your head about yourself while building Legos. It's like, I love to see the way my son interacts with the Legos. He loves the Legos. It is like one of his things. And so I try to provide that for him. But dealing with Mamita was like dealing with fucking Legos. That being said, I'm going to switch over to the phone really quick.
Okay.
Hold on one second. Hello, looking at there. Oh. No, this one. All right. So I will. Did you have some? I can't do the star comments on here, can I?
I mean, what do you want me to star? I can do it.
No, I wondered, was there any? Talk like adults. That's a great thing.
I came in a little bit late. I was screen recording some other shit, trying to prove a point with receipts and shit.
Yeah.
I'll be putting that in your Discord later. But Miss Persevere says she's driving home and then she's gonna hop on. So if we just hang tight a little bit.
Okay, cool. Thank you for everyone. Thank you everyone for joining us. For real.
I would like to say, in all this stuff, and I feel so bad because in all of the stuff that these girls have been going through, all of these women that we call our friends, they all know that neither of us want drama brought to us. And
no, they really don't.
They just been talking about it amongst themselves and not bringing it to us, and feel so bad because I didn't know. I mean,
I mean,
like,
yeah, it is a lot. It's a lot. I guess it was surmounting for me, right? It was like, okay, one came, another came, another came, another came, and then it was like, once it was a little more socially acceptable to talk about it in this situation, I mean, the floodgates just opened up, and I'm like,
right,
dang.
exactly. So I woke up to the girls talking about Nickilina's live with Alicia's ex, and I'm like, what in the fuck? And I scrolled up and I started seeing all this different shit like that she had told them, and I'm like tagging you, and because it's in the girls' room, and I don't know what you were doing. I think it might have actually been when you had Luca and y'all might have been at the trampoline park. I don't know, but they were tagging you, and then I think Chasing Justice called you later or texted you and was like, "What's going on with this person, Alisha?" And then you called me and you were like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Oh, well, Nick had her ex on the live today." And, the girls were like, "I knew it. I knew my gut was right. I knew this. I knew that." And I was like, "Yeah, you're tagged in all of it. Go look." And it was just so far up in the conversation thread. I just screenshot it and sent it to you, but because I had already screenshot it and sent it to her in an attempt to have a conversation with her about, hey, this is what they're saying. What of it? Like, what are you talking about? And she was like, "Well, I'm cooking," and da-da-da-da. But she didn't answer until way after the fact. Oh, we got a crown down in the back chat.
Crown down. Crown down.
Turn your camera off. Okay.
Hold on, baby. All
have an
right.
idea who that is. Go ahead.
Hello, Crown Down. How are you, baby?
Fizzle, you know who it is. I
Who
told
is it?
I
I know who it is.
I told Fizzle we all need to change our name to Crown Down.
I said no.
Okay, hold on, I'm echoing.
Hold on, let me mute out.
All right, go ahead.
Is it still echoing?
No, I'm good. I don't hear an
Okay.
echo.
Okay, I have the baby, so I can't stay up here long because she's like a raging maniac right now. But yeah, it's echoing again.
I don't hear an echo. We don't hear an echo. Chat, do you hear an echo?
I'll just mute out and then mute back in.
Okay.
I think it could be me.
Probably you.
Okay, maybe it's just on my end.
It's probably Benny.
Okay, well, I just want to jump up here and clarify for whoever thinks that Fizzle, Penny, whatever you want to call her, she has not led nobody against Mamita.
And you know what? She did claim that. I seen the text messages, the correspondence between Mamita and Salty C, where literally Mamita is saying, Fizzle's turning everyone against me. Like, what? Benny, you're muted.
That's not
Literally,
even actually a portion of the truth.
Exactly. Sitting on my hands about this shit for a long time. Like Benny been ready to give her the boot, not just been like whatever he says go is go time. But no, nope. I don't. Nope.
So,
Thank you for saying that.
Crown Down, have you had any bad experiences that you'd like to talk about?
I don't know.
I have a crazy baby right now.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I
okay.
got you.
I keep muting every time she yells.
Now, what I will say, hold on just a second. I will say, whenever she was starting her channel, she did make me aware that she was, because Benny didn't drop her link, Benny didn't shout her channel out. She was super salty against that. She was telling people to drop her link in chat, and she wanted to align and create allies in people who would drop her link. And she wanted to, quote, create an army. Notice I said motherfucking quote, create an army for if anybody ever came against her again, like say, I don't know, Nickilina, that she would have allies. That was her goal. So whenever Benny and Rap started talking again, or set aside their differences and decided not to beef with each other, she took that as a green light to go over there and rub elbows.
I kind of forgot what he did.
Well, nonetheless, and she should know that. She should know that. I think that if somebody's going to be your friend and going to say that they care about you, they themselves should have boundaries, whether or not you make peace with that person or not. For her to be all up in Rap's area, in Jimbo's area, after what they did, putting your daughter online to pay her and say the most foul shit about you, that should have been a line that, as somebody who cares about you, she wouldn't cross, regardless of if you made peace with them or not. You're not going to have those people in your close inner circle like she attempted. She told Rap, I never stopped, I've always loved you, and blah, 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 and all this just fucking love bombing shit. And for me, that was a no. So my issue with her was simply, look, I don't think that it's okay to say you care about Benny or say you care about me, and for you to be over there with them, rubbing elbows with them, hee hee ha ha, love you, and all this other shit, all this weird ass shit. And you know what the fuck they did.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's a personal line for me that me personally, I wouldn't cross. And I personally choose not to be around that. I won't be back to your channel. That's what I told her. That's what my
But
problem
that's not,
was.
but she's saying that's why a lot of people backed off from her, why Benny was mad at her. That wasn't the reason.
I wasn't never mad at her.
Well, you know what? And if a lot of people felt the same way I did, good for them, because that's exactly how the fuck you should feel whenever you call somebody a friend and catching yourself telling you love somebody. You
Well,
love
that's
somebody
when a lot of us a lot of us stopped going in her lives after she started modding all of them, because we were all like, we don't F with them.
Exactly.
Like, those are
Exactly.
Benny's ops.
Like, you don't, like, look, y'all can be friends for play on the internet or whatever, but in real life, they crossed a personal line. And why you would want to surround yourself with those kind of people is beyond me. What Benny does is up to him. I have my own fucking personal boundaries, and I chose not to go around it. And I told her that personally. All this other shit that I brought to her 2 days ago, or yesterday, or whenever the fuck it was what all of you have told me that I didn't know about. And then she tried to convolute the two and say, well, I'm sorry, you have a problem with me going back over there where we're at. No, bitch, that's not what I fucking said. What I fucking said was, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person is saying all of this. Respond to me about that. Don't bring in my personal grievance with you, because I'm not here on my behalf. I'm here on behalf of them, because I just found out about this shit. Now answer to that, and she fucking won't.
And it would be different if it was 5, 10, 15 people, but it's not. It's numerous people with the same exact effing story.
It's literally everybody she's ever fucking spoke to.
Okay, I didn't know if we could cuss. Yeah, it's literally everybody that has came out, everybody that has spoke since Saturday, everybody's story is the same. Everybody's. It's not a us problem, it's a fucking her problem.
Exactly. Now that is exactly what I'm saying, is whenever you think in your delusional, fucked up mind that it's everybody else, bitch, it's you. It's you, it's you, it's you. Look at your track record with people in your personal relationship. I told her this in the DM. I said it might be time for some introspection. If you feel like it's everybody else, bitch, it's you. It is you. Look inside yourself and see what the fuck you're doing that is fucking off every fucking personal relationship you have in your life. It is you. Grab you a fucking self-help book or something. Like, I don't fucking know.
We got Miss Kira in the house. How you doing, Miss Kira?
Call 211.
Doing good, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Can you turn up? Let me turn you up just a little bit, baby.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna hop down because the baby's being quiet only because I'm holding her.
Thank you, Crown Down. We sure appreciate you, baby.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Bye.
All right, Miss Kira, tell me what's shaking, baby. Tell me, you got a story, don't you?
Well, I mean, I got a few stories. Like, I mean, it all started, I guess, when she was having our problem with Lily. I'm not going to go into all that because I think Lily's going to come up and go into that herself. But, like, she knew that Lily and I were close. And she, from that moment on, started to shut me out completely. Like, I watched her, like, actively avoid me in chats. Like, she'd come in and she'd be like, oh, hi this person, hi that person, hi this person. And then I'd say something and she'd be like, oh, sorry if I missed you, I'm cooking. Oh, hi this person. Like, go back into saying hi to everybody but me. It's like, okay, I thought we were sisters. I thought you loved me, but I guess not, huh?
That was the start of it, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
What was the final infraction? Like, what was the thing that just pushed Kira over the edge where she was like, man, I ain't fucking with this shit no more? If you want to say, if you don't have to.
No, it's. I mean, like, for me, for the most part, it's been all observations. Like, she's done a lot worse to a lot more people than me. But I have been sitting here watching it all, and it's like, it's disgusting. Like, especially when she started going hard for you, Benny, like hard. I mean, like, Nickilina's right. I knew I had heard that somewhere. Like, she was telling people that you guys were a couple and this and that, and and if we wanted to talk to you, we had to go through her or something. Like, it was like, it got to the point where people were actually going to her. Oh, ask Benny this, ask Benny that. It's like, why are you telling her? Why don't you go to Fizzle? If you can't go to Benny, why don't you go to Fizzle? That's what you want to go to. Why are you asking her?
Don's ulcer. That's pretty funny. Now that's pretty funny. Seeing as you know that he's probably got at least one. I'm sorry. I had to note that. Like, that is very witty of you. How is it being clever? Miss Kira, what are some of the things that you would feel comfortable talking with me about here in front of 600 people, 612 of us, that she had said about me that maybe I don't know, other than what you've said already? Because I know there's a laundry list of things that, thank you, Miss Renfro, much love and much respect to you too, baby. There's been many things said in many different discords and video calls and this and that I'm not even aware of.
Oh yeah, like, you guys are best friends. Like, she actually outright said if we had anything to ask you, if we had anything to say to you, that we should go through her. I mean, she wasn't exactly saying not to go through Fizzle, but she sure as hell wasn't bringing her up at the same time.
Like, trying to make herself the right-hand man in that respect.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
What was the thing for you that was just over the edge? Can you tell me?
Well, like I said, I mean, she did a lot to Lily, and Lily we're close. We were, that's all. And she'd come to me and she'd talk to me, and it was like, the more she said about the way that she was being treated, it just made me just madder and madder, because it was like, I don't know, I guess I could see something was up, but at the same time, I like to see the best in people. So I was like telling myself that, nah, it's just, I'm just not, maybe I missed something, maybe because I'm not here all the time for every single live. So maybe I missed something. Maybe, something was said to her that I didn't see. But I mean, as it went on, it was like, it was obsessive.
Did you see a change in it when I started to talk to TM?
Oh, yeah. And it was,
how did that change, in your opinion?
She I don't know. She had like kind of a saltiness about her, but at the same time, kind of like she almost gave up. Like, oh, like sadness. What's the word I'm trying to think of? Defeated. She seemed defeated. That's what it was. Because, I mean, you and TM, you were like, pretty close, and you were talking all the time, and it was obvious that, you guys were on the phone or whatever, phone call, text message, whatever. Right. And she seemed like, kind of a mixture between salty and defeated.
Now, Ray Lynn, she's the comment I have pinned. I've heard that more than once. But before Ray Lynn, before Nickilina has said it, that it wasn't that I had to do this today. It's that there already was an issue that I wasn't even aware of, right? That, like, Nickilina had called her out, and she had said her story had changed. Basically, like, well, now that somebody's paying attention to it, you're going to go ahead and swap up the story, right? And that's just problematic to me. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the things, I do want to mention to Ernie Shell, like, bro, this isn't no filter, bro. Like, this is the real me and the iPad. So I don't use the Brad Pitt shit. You understand me? This all keys. This all mama keys and daddy keys. So, when I saw sort of the level of commitment that I felt like I saw she was making to other channels on the internet that had really tried to damage things in my real life, that's when I found it problematic, right? Because on one hand, she fought the situation by trying to seem like, oh, well, I'm a mandated reporter and I see her doing this and this online, like, I have to report it. But then, like Nickilina said, like, I never got no paperwork saying that they did any of the shit that she said that she done.
like nothing. They didn't send me nada, right? So with that being said, but there was some things that had happened as a result of her own behaviors, right? So it seemed like it coincided with me, but then to see the change on the other end, I was like, damn, like that's for real. Like that's pretty for real. And then in the last week, I've really started to accept the ownership, right? I feel a real ownership in having, I don't all the time understand the power in which having a platform like some of us have. When you say somebody's name and you say, okay, yeah, they're friends of ours, you know, it's that old mob shit. Like when you let them in and they do a bunch of wild shit to the people you brought them in, and if you're that kind of person, you feel bad about that shit. And I feel bad that seemingly I platformed a person that came through and really made like real life tough for some people on the internet. And we shouldn't be here to try to make it tougher on each other. We should be here to try to make it better. But in the midst of trying to do that, you're going to run across people like this, right?
Benny,
What's
Yes,
that?
you are. You're always there.
the thing that pissed me off, Benny talked to my son and established a strong relationship. It all stopped when TM came around and my son felt abandoned and was broken.
Yes, that's what I really said. Cut the shit. Stop. Because now you're sitting there acting like Benny's some kind of fucking monster because he's not talking to your son. Stop. Just stop.
I did not have a relationship with her child.
Continued and said you talk to her son every day.
Oh, yeah.
Negative. There were times when she'd say, oh, the kids just got here or something, and there would almost feel like there was a prompt. Like, do you want to say hello to them? A few times, maybe, I know once on a birthday and maybe one other time I was like, hey, kids, how you doing? Hope you're doing good. Behave your mom. That kind of shit. A couple of times on a speakerphone. I didn't have no conversations with no boy, no long-term conversations or even short-term conversations. I addressed the boy once on his birthday, and then all the kids, like, I hope you're minding your mama. Mind your mama kind of shit. And that was it. And when I heard that, I was like, that's extra. That's super extra. The fact that you're telling people online that allows me the real estate to say shit like, you know what? You got them babies thinking it's some motherfucker around there trying to get at you and pop tires and shit. And meanwhile, this fool is doing the opposite of that. He's running the other way. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe the stuff that Mr. K said on Nickilina's. You know what? Now, let me keep it real. Let me kick the ball real to you. I'm going to kick it at all. I believe there's a high possibility that he is what she says he is. And I believe there's a high probability and possibility that she is what he says she is. Does that make sense to you? They're both what they say they are. I believe you. I believe both of you. But the things the things that he said and the way he said it, I've been in his shoes. I've been in his shoes. Like, it'll be a child that you know grows up under a rain like that'll come online and say things about their dad and shit online that aren't true, just to try to damage dad, right? Like that's what happens with that parental alienation. So then that spins in. It's some more word salad. That spins in the duplicity that I saw. Like on one end, you about to help me, make it look like you're helping me in a situation where you say that what you see between my daughter and her mom online, that constitutes you have to do your mandated reporter stuff, right? And then come to find out, now none of that's true. Like, yeah, I have a vested interest in coming here and making sure that the people know that, bitch, you are a fucking lie. And don't lie on me. Don't lie on nothing about me. Man, just go on about your business. Right? Like, as soon as I said, I put the scheduler out earlier this morning, right? Thinking that this lady may hit me on the dial and be like, Benny, look, let's talk about this. No, you didn't. Like, I haven't been on your neck about none of this shit. And then as soon as I say something about what I'm going to do with Nickilina today, guess what? Now all this other manipulation comes in. She's over in Discords doing this, ducking questions, hiding and shit, and then allegedly taking her channel down. Like, I'm not. Don't
Lily,
play.
you gotta echo.
I'm
gonna mute you real quick. No, Lily, echo. I'm gonna mute her real quick. I want to address this right here, Dark Horse Justice. I want to support Benny. She's put in the chat several times. Benny, do you support Nick? Benny, do you support Nick?
Listen,
she says, I want to support Benny, but I can't stand behind Nickilina. I want to support Benny but from what I know of Nickilina, I find it hard to back. Nobody's asking you, ma'am, nobody's asking you to back Nickilina. We are here for a subject tonight. And if that offends you, please don't support Benny. Please don't support anybody you see over here. Please just completely, wholly, and entirely exit out the chat, exit out the channel.
As we understand,
if Benny can talk to somebody about a common subject and can talk about it civilly and as adults, then that should be something you should respect and admire in both creators.
Correct.
Period.
Correct. Period. No, enough said about that. And you know, again, if you just don't support this message, and that's okay too, right? We really want to try to grow, like we seemingly as a community, and we know that there's a lot of communities that infringe on each other, I guess, if you will. A lot of them being some sort of drama that mix in over with the true crime, all these little subgenres, and that's a beautiful thing. But with that comes all the new ideals and confrontations, and eventually we're all here for like the same thing, and that's like to try to help out a plight with a marginalized child, right? Like to help a plight, right? Some of us get to do it more often than others. Some of us do it better than others. But I think even down to, you know, at some point in time, TM or a MGL had to have actually wanted to help a kid. I got to give them that, right? Now, I don't know, you know, specifically what they got going, but I just use them as examples, right? So, you back Human Aid Solutions. Well, you know, it's interesting you should say that. And you know what? I think that you're probably not saying that to get this response, but I'm going to go ahead and give you what you came for. I feel like anybody that backs them is okay with the ideal of absolutely terrifying a child to the point of actual petrification. Let me tell you why. Let's imagine for a minute little H ain't 15 and 215. You understand me? Let's imagine that he's 87 pounds and you can manhandle him like a wet el dente noodle. You dig? And that somebody like Jeremy Dugan and Paul Leedy get their fucking hands on him, and it takes 12, 13 hours if you drive straight from Eastern Tennessee back to New York City. What do you think they're going to be doing to that child that whole time? Don't worry, I'll wait. Do you think that that's going to look like something on fucking First Class? Or is it going to look like a couple of guys riding a fucking ego trip that is probably stronger than any drug that man can supply? For 12 hours, telling a little small statured framed H. Now, let me tell you what, if that boy was smaller, they would have been like, man, it don't matter. We got this and this and this. You know, the sheriff stepped in and the boy is fucking 6', you know what I'm saying, 6'2", 215 at 15. You ain't make that. Paul Leedy, Jeremy Dugan, they don't want them kind of problems on the way back to New York. They don't want H kind of problems. You know what I'm saying? No, they want little boy and girl problems. They can control them physically and they can scare them. You're not finna scare Hunter into going to his dad's when he don't want to. So it ended up being a failed attempt. Now, in terms of trying to do shit that's against the law, anarchy, what you got to understand is that the object of it is to be good. So if there's some training ground that you can suggest that them fools go to so that they can get good at it so they don't have to practice on real kids, that way when they legal kidnap shit, it goes smooth for everybody. They got the little roasted peanuts, the little Sprite seltzer and the clear little short cups, all the shit like First Class. Because it's a bumpy, rough, fucked up road when you put a child in the care of somebody like Jeremy Dugan and Paul Lee, and apparently Jeremy's wife, Val, right? There were reports from Alisha, Mamita Alisha, that she knew of intravenous pill usage with Jeremy Dugan. I don't know about that, but she does, and she told me, right? So, is it true? Who knows, right? And I think that was a portion of why I turned. I just sort of turned away from her, like disgusted, because I felt like I had given her a platform. A lot of people at that time cared about her and didn't know that she was a liar. And so for me to really kind of step in and say, well, hey, I felt like it wasn't my place. And then a lot of this is what's transpired. Enough about that. We got Miss Lily Rochelle in the house. Miss Lily,
Also, just hold on just a second. If we can put Dark Horse Justice out, I'm really tired of reading the comments. She says, with whom? I want the best for Benny. I just don't support Nickilina. Ma'am, if you cannot see Benny beyond this singular live stream and you don't know him beyond that, then what are you doing supporting him? Also, what are you what exactly is it you're supporting if you cannot see Benny beyond this one live stream? And also, if you cannot support talking to another person as an adult and putting your differences aside, what is it you support? Because I feel like you're pushing a narrative and we don't do that here. So I'm going to have to ask you to leave. And if you won't leave voluntarily, you will be put out. Please stop.
This is the thing. Like, I think that it shows the way like real life actually is. I'm sorry that a lot of any of that may have shocked you, but Nickilina is a red-blooded American. I'm a red-blooded American. And when we decide something ain't right, we could put the shit to the side. Right? Point blank. And again, there's always going to be a committee that try to create itself to try to put speed bumps in the middle of the Indianapolis 500. Let's move forward. Anyways, Miss Lily Rochelle, you got the stage. Miss Lily Rochelle is someone that I will open up my platform and say, hey, Lily Rochelle, she's that big. She was friends with Mamita for a while, and she has a testimony. Would you like to share your testimony?
Yes, I will. Do I have an echo still?
No, you're all right.
No echo.
Okay, cool. So I got close to her because she was a mod, and then we kind of branched out, got close to Dutchy and Just Tiff and BBK and Homegirl. And I guess apparently there were things being said behind my back that I didn't even know. And finally, I guess Homegirl got tired of it and she like blew up on a Discord call that there was just like 3 of us on. And she told me, she's like, look, I'm tired of, her running her mouth, but to your face, she acts like she loves you so much. And I apologize for not having that conversation. We were even going to bring Fizzle in as like a mediator so that everybody could speak their piece. The reason, and I'm saying this with however many is on this live, because I can't see chat right now because I don't want to see what everybody's saying. So the reason that conversation was not had was not because I said not to have it or I told her not to go to Dutchy's, because I found out later that when she tried to patch things up with Dutchy, that's what she told her. That's why the conversation wasn't had. No, ma'am. The conversation was not had because she threw a fit and didn't want to get on the call because she was so worried that they were just going to let her be up there and they were just going to bash her and drag her through the mud. And like I told Fizzle, there's no point in having this conversation if everybody involved is not on it, because then it's still going to be, oh, she said this, she said this, she said this. And what's the point in that?
I agree.
So that's why that call did not happen. So when all that happened, of course, she calls division with that little group of people. Of course, I pulled back from Dutchy and all of them. Okay. And I got close to Mamita. And then there for a bit, it was me, Mamita, and Brain BB. Then she calls division there, and put all kinds of doubt in my head about Brandy. Said Brandy was, doing this, being two-faced, blah blah blah, all this, So it was like everybody was just, I don't know. And then
let me take a moment real quick. I see a spot where I can interject it just quickly.
Go ahead.
I want to give you, and you got it right now. Don't pretend, but know that she's watching, right?
I know she's watching. And then, bitch, I hope you know I know you're watching.
Like you could say it to her and not have to hide your feelings. Say what you want to say to her, girl. Go ahead.
Well, that's the thing. Like, she fucking turned people against me. And they're in the chat, and they'll tell you, and they've already apologized to me. But I can tell you, she turned Casey against me, Amy, Brandy. She turned them away from me. And at Halloween, that's why from Halloween on, I've barely been in chat. That's why I went and became friends with, over in another community with Annabella and Dazed and Confused, because they accepted me fine. They didn't care what was going on with her. And I know none of y'all had issues with me, but I was uncomfortable being in a chat knowing that every time I spoke, when she popped up and said something, the other ones went running. And I was like, I figured those people knew who I really was. Because here's my thing. My word matches my actions. Because words don't mean shit. Actions speak louder than words. And if my words don't match my actions, then my words aren't shit and I'm not shit. And I'm not like that. I stand on my words. And I'm a very loyal person. And she wants to say that I take and don't put anything back. Bitch, you're calling out yourself.
Yeah, I would have to agree that I think a lot of the things that I think that I heard her trying to put on other folks ended up being it's that weird thing. Like, you can't really identify a deflector and someone that's gaslighting and someone that gets triggered. Like, you don't use them terms in real life. Not until you had your cherry bust on the internet. And then once that's taken away from you and you realize those things, they really only exist on the internet. Right? Now, there might be some people that are, perfect gaslighters and never been YouTubers. Man, I get it. But those are like internet things. But they're here. They're actually here. Like, somebody that says this or this about you probably does that. It's about shit.
Them.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And she takes things like, she finds out okay, with me, being a friend, I told her, I've always had this problem. I've always been worried about this. And she fucking took it and did exactly that and made it all happen. Like, her getting close and talking about people with kids and she'll get close to you. The fact that Fizzle is worried that a certain situation didn't really happen. I mean, at this point, I'm kind of wondering if it did too, because I see what she's done to so many other people. She has to have a match feeling on a situation with them to be able to get in. That's her in.
Yeah, I think that there's been a lot of people that have just a strange first interaction with the scenario, and then it leads to sort of a cascade of other shit and information, and you're like, wow, what the hell is going on? Well,
and when all that stuff with Dutchie happened, I went to somebody that I knew, I don't know how close her and Little G were at the time. I do know they talked a lot, and I know that at one point they were kind of close. But I went to Little G, and I was like, look, this is what's being said. And I'm like, I really don't know what to think. Little G told me, you need to trust your gut. You know how your intuition is. You need to trust your gut and then go from there. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't trust my gut because I had a feeling about her the whole time. But I was like, I'm that type of person. I give people a second chance and a third chance. And, but normally my first impression of somebody is a lasting impression, and it's normally the right one. And I should have listened. I know better than to second guess my gut.
Yeah.
But she, seriously, I almost completely was in nobody's chat for the longest time. Like, this bitch almost broke me mentally and emotionally. Call me weak all you want. I don't care. The fact that I can get up here and tell this and help others that's been dealing with it, that doesn't make me weak. That makes me strong because I got my power back from the stupid bitch.
Absolutely.
And I went to Fizzle and I told her I was not going to be around. And she told me not to do that to you. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what? You're right. Benny's had enough people just walk away from him for whatever reason. I'm not going to do that because I consider you a friend. I'm not just your sub or your mod. I consider you a friend. You have my personal phone number.
Absolutely, I do.
So me being a friend, you deserve better than that. So I did not fully walk away from you. Yes, I pulled back. And then when you had TM come in, I pulled back a little more, but I was still always there.
Yep, you were. So you've been one of the ones that have, told me some of the colorful things. Did you, and I don't know, maybe you've answered this without answering it, but did you feel like the woman used her children as sort of the thing that tied you to a scenario?
I think she uses them to get attention and petty, or not petty, sorry, pity from people, because she's always like, oh, my kid's this, or I got to take care of my kids, or, they were always sick. She was always sick. Supposedly our whole big fallout was because, oh my God, Nickilina dogs her and her kids again, and they're in so much trouble. I had been sick for 3 days and hadn't spoke to people. And she was blowing up my messenger like, oh, okay, so I guess now, since my life's in more danger again, you don't give a fuck. I was like, what are you talking about? Well, me and my kids are in trouble. It's always her and her kids are in trouble. So,
but then we hear from the guy and he's not actually.
Yeah, and you know what? I listened to that live stream.
Mama Mia, give me just a few more minutes. These are some of my key friends and ladies. That we had sort of a program already established. I do appreciate you for coming up and wanting to be a part, and I will try to make room for you just as soon as I can, madam. Lil G, how you doing, baby?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I love you, Little G. I'm so glad you're up here with me.
Yeah, I love you too. I was like trying to convince myself to get up here and do this. Not really my thing.
Don't look at chat, Little G. Just talk, baby. Just talk.
Yeah, so I wasn't planning on necessarily saying anything. And I came across a post last night by Fizzle in one of the Discords, and trying to think how I even want to go about this. So, like, Alicia obviously has been somebody I was extremely close with. I don't want to come up here and make this, just like me bashing her, because I do love her. And this is extremely difficult. When I'm friends with somebody, I have a certain level of loyalty, even if they don't deserve that. So, coming up on this post last night, I kind of had known that a lot of the women in the community were hurt. Some of the women that I am the closest to had, just been lied about constantly by Alicia. So I kind of gave her the opportunity to be honest. And, she chose not to do that. She chose to continue to make it seem like it was everybody else's fault, never her fault. Help me out here, Lily. I don't know where to go with my thoughts.
Just explain what you need to explain. Put out there what you put in the Discord, not in Fizzle's Discord, but in the Discord last night.
Yeah.
If you
That's
feel
not you
comfortable,
outing anything. Look, little G's very loyal, and she's not gonna bash anybody, and she's not gonna tell secrets, and she's worried about her being able to get up here and talk about this experience is telling secrets or telling on somebody that she's loyal to.
No, yeah, I explained this in the Discord last night and the night before that I mean, up to an extent, of course, but I've never tried to fault the people that hang around in a situation that I feel like I may have, helped grow. Right. I mean, because I understand, I explained about the people that have extreme loyalties. There ends up being a lot of reasons why they don't just immediately break away from a Mamita situation just because Benny isn't messing with it anymore. That doesn't mean that for instance, Lil G or Lily doesn't mean they got to break away right when I do. Right. And I understand that as a creator, that there are a lot of people that sort of expect that. Right. They expect that when a situation dissolves, that the people that came with them, man, you taking them people back. Right. And that's not the way real life is. It's not. And I don't expect, like scenarios like this. There's no I told you so for any of these ladies. None of them. I mean, I can't do that. Right. And I think that some of the ladies may feel like, oh goodness, if I come back around now, Benny won't accept me because I've been over there by Mamita for X amount of. No, that's not it. I understand that people grieve things and come to terms with things on different times. I also identify that a lot of people that I've had interactions with, they some of them come with an apology first, like, and then I realized through talking to them that they heard a lot of stuff about me, but it wasn't until something personal happened to them that it became a different ballgame. And I don't get upset about that either. I just identify it in talking with as many people as I have about the scenario. There are some people that had an allegiance to Mamita in a way that they listened to that crap and may have believed that crap up until something happened with them, right? There you go, Miss Lil G. You
Yeah,
have
I actually know where to start on this.
I
So
thought maybe that might help.
when there was, yeah, you got me. So when there was the initial split, between like our community, I was going back and forth with Benny in emails, and I said, how do you do it? I said, I really care for a lot of different people in different groups. I said, but how do you work through and not engage in the side stuff, right? Because say Lily and I are friends, I don't want to hear somebody else sit there and talk shit on her. That's just not who I am as a person. So he said, keep your relationship separate at all costs. Doesn't matter what it is, who it is, you keep that separate. So I took that to heart going forward because it was just a big, I didn't realize this community was what it was. I came here, we all come here for a different reason, whether it's true crime or friendships or whatever. I came for true crime, but I ended up making some beautiful friendships along the way. I thought initially they were all on the same page as I was. So around that time, or maybe right before that, I had started talking to um, Alicia. I know it's Alicia, but I'm going to stick to Alicia because that's what I'm
You
used
call her
to.
whatever, because Alicia's my name too, and I don't like the bitch has my name.
Yeah. Well, and it's like I get everybody's anger. I'm not angry for myself. I've said this before. I've been hurt and broken by worse. she did hurt me, but where my hurt really came in was for the women in the community. Like Brandy had just, I see her comment up there, her, for instance. Some of these women that were very, very supportive to me during a time that was very difficult when my nephew was kind of brought into this whole YouTube mess.
Yes, ma'am.
And, you know, Alicia just kept, things were okay. And then, I started picking up on just maybe little things. Like she would share a personal story about a friend, but it always seemed to come from a place of concern, right? So, as a friend, most of these people are my friends as well. I'm like, okay, she's concerned. Like, it was never, especially with like Benny, it was never gossiping. It was more like, hey, I'm concerned about this. Well, I was under the impression that they were talking constantly. I would never question him about that. That's, Benny and I do have a friendship off of here, but it doesn't involve YouTube per se.
Correct.
And I'm a married woman. I don't need to question any man about what he's doing or his love life or just not my place. So there was starting to become more and more of these situations. It started with Benny, and then it was, stories about Penny and Casey K and these women that I really respected and cared for. And she had said to me at one point that I am very careful with the words that I use when I am speaking about situations. So, situations with Brandy or somebody I'm friends with. And I thought it was an odd statement because I'm like, well, of course I'm careful. Like, they're my friends too, and you don't want me to address this with them. So I don't feel comfortable, right, talking about my friends when I'm just hearing your side. Well, that started to put a distance between us. Also, I don't need to talk on the phone every day, all day. There was just little things that started to be red flags, but I loved her. I trusted her. She cried with me. There's, the connection with my Connor. There was just a lot there. And I don't think she's this awful person. And maybe that's just naive of me. I'm not sure what it is. But I do feel like a lot of our friendship was true.
Fair enough. And I'm not here to just diminish that either. And we spoke
Yeah.
about that privately. I would never try to diminish that. If Lil G says that's her perspective, I'm not here to try to change anyone's perspective. The only thing is to give an open place for women to come here and tell their stories, that want to talk about it. And in whatever light, I've not harnessed any of these women to come here and say anything they don't want to say about Mamita, period. These people are saying what they want to say. And this is proof of that.
Benny didn't even know of my situation until like last night.
See?
Unless he had heard it in like passing, like if Fizzle said something or one of the other girls said something to him. I never went to Benny with this situation. I didn't really even want to go to Fizzle with it, but I finally broke down and told Fizzle I needed to talk to her about it. And she even said, the only reason I'm having this long of a conversation about any kind of drama is because it's you and because I care about you.
I sure appreciate that.
And thank God that Fizzle knows who the hell I am and knows that I'm not some liar and out here doing all some weird shit because otherwise, yeah,
Let me acknowledge Miss Persevere. How you doing, lovely? How you doing, beautiful?
Hey, I'm good. How are y'all?
Good. Thank you for joining us this evening. I
You're
know that
welcome.
you had a little drive to do, and thankfully you made it there safely. So we have Lil G in the house. We have
I'm
Miss
proud of
Kira
you,
in the
Lil
top.
G.
We've got
Thank you,
Lily
love.
in the top right, and we've got Miss Persevere down in the lower left. I want to come back to you, Lil G, momentarily. Miss Persevere, can you give us just sort of a quick insight into some of your dealings with Alicia as well? I want to go back and forth. I don't want to cut anyone off or any of that stuff, but I want to give everyone a chance to open up.
So I have limited. I didn't have months long relationship or conversation with Alisha. I did have about 2 months worth of conversation with her, and in that time, I got that same story Lil G was talking about. That same, I feel like I can trust you. We connect on this level, like this weird like vibes from her, and she's so very believable. Like some of the things that she would say just made you not question what she said. She began to let me know that certain people in your channel, I needed to be careful with who I talked to. She warned me about Fizzle, and that in itself was a huge red flag for me.
wow.
Because that's the one person that I go to.
Right.
And then the two things that bother me the most were that she well, of course, she told me y'all were in love. I mean, not just she was gonna marry you, like y'all was in love. And if I needed to get a hold of you, that it was through her. Like she was the ticket. But for some reason I didn't get a hold of you through her.
He was keeping you from getting a hold of me.
Right. And then the second thing is I was sharing with the girls last night, and I don't mind sharing this publicly. My child was raised in a hospital half of her life. She had a lot of major health issues, and I did share that in an open, a couple of open YouTube lives in relation to someone else talking about their story. And I never had questioned that her speaking to me might have something to do with that, until I started hearing some of the other ladies' stories coming out over the last 24 to 48 hours. And now I question it, and it's like, I have to know, was her daughter, like, was she sick? Or did she play on my emotions to get, you know what I mean? Like, because I'm nobody. I mean, I'm somebody, don't get me wrong.
Somebody.
Yeah, I'm somebody. But I mean, in YouTube, like, I'm not anybody that needs to be like coerced into or swung a certain way. Like, I'm just me. So I have a few other things, but I'm gonna give you the mic back so I don't take up your time.
No. So did you have? Let me ask you a question. Were you a part of the group with, say, Lil G and Brandy B and some of the other gals as well? In with Mamita like that all together, or were you kept more compartmentalized?
No, it was just me. It was just me. It was right as I began to, because I'm gonna start a channel eventually when I get time, and I was reaching out to people that like I needed to understand things about FOIA requests. I've needed to understand things about how to get music without getting copyright striked. I needed to just kind of understand the process of it all, right? And she was the first person to reach out to me. So this has only been in the last like 2 to 3 months. This is very recent. I was not involved like in a specific group with them. It was always one-on-one, but I have her phone number. I have her email. I know where she lives. I know her name. You know what I mean? Like, that's weird.
It is a little bit, I guess. There's such a thing as the love bomb, right? I wasn't fully aware of the concept and the terminology, but I am now, and I feel like that there's many people that come with that same thing. Like, it's all about the love and the love and the love in the beginning, and then all of a sudden there's this turn, and you don't even know really when it turned. You just start seeing a bunch of stuff, and you're like, wait, hold on, And let me ask you this: did you contribute to any of the Christmases?
No.
Okay.
No. I told you I ain't never contributed to nobody else.
No, fair enough.
But I will say the final straw for me was when her child was in the hospital. I was constantly messaging her, asking her how her child was doing, like daily, sometimes multiple times a day, and she wouldn't respond. Because I was concerned, right? I'm a mother. I've been through this. I understand. You're lonely in a hospital. When you live there, you're lonely. People forget about you, And so I was really trying to be that person for like at least somebody for her to like get through those times. And she wouldn't respond, but yet when she would ask me about if they were talking about her in Fizzle's chat, or Discord or whatever, like, or you're like, if she could, if she couldn't see comments in your chat, but was she being mentioned, she was quick to get on there to ask me questions like this, but not to answer about her kid. And that's when I just cut it off.
Yeah.
I just cut it off. I was over with it. And I never brought it up because she's not around anymore. But like so many people have said, who am I to ask or question what you do behind the scenes? I'm a grown, married woman. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's even like that whole other incident that happened the other day. I made that comment. I'm like, what is it your business whose eggplant goes where? It's not anybody, we it's not our place to question it. Now, did I believe it? I mean, I didn't think so, but like the way that she made it, the way that she was so persistent about it, and the whole thing about her son and the birthday, and like how he was destroyed over it, like he was sitting there waiting on your call every day. It just was weird. Benny, it was weird.
Yeah, that's another sort of synonymous tone with most all of it is that it just I don't know if it actually started out weird or if it turned weird.
It just turned weird.
It turned weird. Yeah.
No, it's always been weird.
It was always weird.
It's always been weird. She's been like that.
It's always been
day
weird.
one with Benny.
No, I'm in conversation. Sorry.
No, you're all right.
Yeah, I'm just see her talking is re-pissing me off from last night. This is why I decided to even speak up. Is, I pride myself on relying on myself and myself alone. There's a lot of people in this community that don't have that. I don't want to say luxury because that's not the proper word. And I'm glad they don't have the trauma that I do. But I just try to stick to myself. The less people you let in, the less people you hurt that can hurt you. The less people that you trust, the less people that can
Can burn
hurt
you.
you. And it's just kind of how I live my life. But listening to her, so it was the same thing when her little girl got sick, which I told you this earlier, Benny. So I had some family issues, and her and I weren't speaking quite as often. We had a really great conversation. It was a Saturday. I had told her I was struggling and that I needed, a few days just to kind of get life stuff together. I come online, it was 2 days later, and I see a community post that was saying that her daughter was in the hospital and basically naming names of everybody that had called her, and my name wasn't on there. Some of, so we'll say like my core group, 4 or 5 women. That's when I say the ladies, that's who I'm talking about. These women, you know, we know, I don't want to say we know everything about each other, but we're very honest about our lives, and that's it. I could name on one hand who has my phone number. I don't share it with people. If I let you in, I let you in because I love you. So I was like, oh my God, messaged her right away, what's going on with the baby? No response. I then get a voice response. Mind you, I sent a text because I didn't want to wake up the child if she was in the hospital. Because I'm like, I've been in the hospital with my nephew. Like, if the little person's sleeping, you let them sleep. Um, I asked her, I don't know, 3 times up to this point, what is going on? So then I go to YouTube into chats because I'm like, maybe she's not getting my messages. Let me see what's going on. And she's in there basically trashing everybody who's not reaching out to her. She was making a passive aggressive comments to me, or I'm sorry, to me, but not directed at me.
Right.
So yeah, so I again go back to the chat, and at this point, I'm like, look, what the fuck's going on? Like, clearly there's an issue. I need to know about the baby. I don't want to talk about this YouTube bullshit. I'm choosing my own mental health over
Any of it.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
period. My mental health and her daughter, who I believed was in the hospital. And I'll tell you, the messages and the manipulation and the spinning of what she was saying to me, I was like completely taken aback. So I'm like, okay, I'm not in a great mental place. Let my husband read this because, sometimes I can get my feelings hurt. Maybe I'm perceiving this wrong. And he's reading this as well. And he's like, what is up with her? And I'm like, I have no clue. Do you know she did not answer me that whole day about how the baby was? Not one single time. Yet I got 17 voice clips in a row after I repeatedly asked her, stop talking about YouTube. If you want to talk about the baby, we can talk about that. And it was just like constant messages.
Wow.
So
Same.
let me ask you, like, I just maybe the people here, has the interaction with a personality like that, has it changed the way that you look at other people you're friends with on the internet right now?
I
Yeah.
would.
No.
Is it going to keep you from making new friends on the internet?
No.
Okay.
But I'll
I
keep
was
them at a distance, like Fizzle always tells me to.
So yes,
Right.
it does make you more cautious.
Yeah, Thistle's been telling me since day one I needed to be careful, guard my heart. She said at any point, anybody can and will disappoint you. And that's been rolling through my head for months now. And I should have, when the first stuff started happening and the divide with Dutchy and all that, I should have not just backed away from them. I should have either backed away from everybody or, just kind of was like, okay, cool. You do your thing. Y'all do your thing. I'm going to go over here.
I mean, I don't feel like this. I feel like there's a lot of love and support in the house tonight. And I feel like, I feel just like Casey, like I've got the comments streaming right here. And there is like all the time new names popping up like, oh, this happened. And I'm like, wow, people who I've never even heard of before. Here you are. Thank you for joining us, all of you.
Hey, Benny, can I address something I saw in the chat? Because I can't type in chat. So, Joe looking asked, darling, yes, I did get birthday presents. And I thank you, all of you that helped out with that. Thank you so much. Because when I do get in my place, because my car got totaled 2 days after Thanksgiving, so me moving has not happened. I'm still with my mom right now. But yes, the money that y'all put in, I did get gifts for that. I did find out she told Casey I was unappreciative of it all, but I was in tears when I got those presents. So thank you.
Awesome. That's what community is about.
And I just like to say one more thing. I think my biggest concern with all of this is the people in the community who are victims.
Absolutely.
Because she is extremely easy to speak to. And I'm not going to sit up here and lie and say that she did not help me through a lot, because she did.
Exactly.
She was everything that I needed in those moments. But what I came to realize is there was always a cost to that. There was always, well,
Something that
I
benefited
started,
her.
yeah, I
Yes,
started to
ma'am.
notice more of the negative comments, that you let go and you write off, because none of us are perfect. I mean, I'm not perfect. I hope I'm not sitting up here, trying to act like I have never done anything wrong, but I am loyal. That's one thing that, and I kept saying to her, it is me. Every single time she would have a falling out with somebody, I would get questioned over it. And at some point, that wasn't fair anymore. And her constantly putting her email out there and people reaching out to her who were in current DV situations.
Right.
And that's kind of why I'm up here tonight, because there's a lot of women that she has taken, myself included, my private, personal text messages talking about things that should never be put or spread and or gossiped about and sent it amongst a large group of people. So I'm up here tonight completely uncomfortable, just asking people to please be careful.
Be
And
careful.
that's not just with her, that's with
With everybody.
anybody. Be careful with your stories, because, I just don't want to see somebody ending up hurting themselves over some stupid shit, getting some person who's not respecting their story, that she had shared with them.
Yes, ma'am.
I agree. That's the reason I'm up here. I don't do well with drama. But I definitely wanted to come on and just say my piece. And I did know that you, Lil G, I did know that you and Mamita were close because she
Yeah.
mentioned it. And so I Um, I don't know. Like I
Right.
said, you said that you asked us if it was going to affect our friendships going forward, and my initial reaction was yes.
Yes,
But
I think it will.
At the same time, I've already been so cautious, and I'm kind of disappointed. I'm kind of beating myself up for even allowing myself to go there. I didn't even really open up too much to her to give her like any information on me. But I'm kind of disappointed that like I have a very good intuition, and um and I didn't pick up on it right away. Like I did. You guys said that it was weird from the beginning, and it wasn't weird from the beginning for me because of the way that it was approached. She was there. She reached out to me to help me. Like it sounded like it was the first person that really actually like reached out to me without me reaching out to them. Um, and I felt like, well, maybe I could find a friend here. You know what I mean? Like,
For sure.
so, but that's the first person I haven't really got. The only other person, I talked to was Fizzle, and she warned me. She warned me as soon as I told her that I was talking to Mamina, and so as soon as she warned me, I began to start looking at things that she was saying and asking of me, and how she was responding to things. I started to take all of that in, and then eventually, like 1 week later, I think it was just I just stopped. But
her coming in and speaking wasn't what was weird in the beginning from the get-go. The way she felt and spoke about her connection to Benny is what was weird from the get-go, because this girl came out of nowhere and all of a sudden she's like up on a panel with Nickilina and Benny, and I don't remember who else was up there that night. And then like all of a sudden it's like she was real close to him, talked to him all the time, talked to him daily. And that's everybody in his Discord, in Benny's Discord. That's what she led us to believe. Like, but I mean, she did that with Fizzle too. And I knew damn well she wasn't that close to Fizzle. But that's because I know Fizzle. So
Right.
And I want to say, like everybody that I know, at least personally, tried to handle this in private. None of us wanted to address this publicly. Nobody wanted to embarrass or shame her. I really hope that she sees this tonight and is able to grow from it for her and her babies, because she has a beautiful family. And it breaks my heart that she doesn't have, I don't know if it's self-worth or what it is, that, she even felt that she needed that attention from everybody. I never understood it, because I'm just like, I like to stay in the background. I'm not like that kind of like in your face type of person. But who am I to judge somebody that is?
right.
Yeah. And you know what, one of the takeaways that I think that is important to still offer as the kind of people we are is still, like, I would still offer to talk and maybe try to point her towards one of the women in the community that they can really try to help get her some services appointed, some resources. Sorry, not services, resources. Get some resources sort of just popping off, because if you're dealing with depression, or you're dealing with addictions, or you're dealing with whatever, like, it's a lot of resources out there, and I guess services that are there to help guide you through that and be assistive, right? That's the thing. You don't have to go at it alone. And a lot of people here
see, I mean, I'm overwhelmed. It's been right at 450, 500 for going on 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it peaked over 700 at a point. It really shows the gelling and the cohesiveness of women in general, right? Like women, when women stand for a cause and men get out the way and stuff, like there's you guys have your own particular way of policing the community, and here it is, right? This is it. This is you guys policing yourselves when it comes to somebody that stood out in a way that was not copacetic. And I'm overwhelmed to see the women that are brushing shoulders here and that have this evening, no matter what may have happened, but between them before. I mean, hell, Lil G was here and Nickilina was here earlier, and all the people in the chat that, thank you for joining me, and us. That this is a problem. This had became a problem, and I see right in the way that she's exhibiting her sort of exit, like, man, come on here and keep it real to somebody, man, and then you can go. But you just decided to just pick up your toys and leave and shit. And you had like, man, you've had like 6 hours. You could have spoke to me about this, right? I mean, I could have at any time had a conversation with this woman, and she could have kept it real with me and everybody else. And then bam, this didn't even have to happen like this. You know what I'm saying? So I hate to see it, but I love to see it at the same time. I'll say that much.
And we gave her the opportunity. I mean, Fizzle gave her the opportunity last night. Then myself, I mean, I wrote damn near a novel trying to vocalize to her in a way that she would understand what she was doing wasn't okay. She needed to take ownership. And the really disappointing part is, out of that whole thing that I wrote, her only concern was what was Benny's perception and Benny being upset with her. And I'm looking at these women and I'm just thinking to myself, like, bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, and nothing against you, Benny, but like, these women have done everything they could to be a support to her, even after, a Brandy, she's heard Brandy so many times, and Brandy's such a beautiful soul.
Brandy is one of my very good friends in Fleshwalker life. Like that's one of the people. You know what I'm saying? Brandy's one of my people. Yeah.
And she just cannot take ownership for any of it. So I just didn't know what the other solution was. And when you said you were doing this tonight, I went back and forth on whether it was a good idea. Because I don't like to speak out on things unless, I pray on it and it's something that I feel passionate
about. You feel empowered today?
I do, but I don't know that it's for me. I think it's more for the women in the community. Life is hard for all of us, and why are we making it harder for the people that we are supposed to love? It's not logical to me.
It's not logical. It defies logic. It defies logic. We had a young lady back here, Mama Mia, and I apologize. I did open the panel, but the way that this is all came together tonight, I had to make it go this way, or allow it the place to go this way. So I apologize. I didn't get to you. I see that you had left. Miss Lily, she's back. Casey K was here for a minute, but I was on a different screen and I couldn't see that down there, and I missed you, baby. Does anybody and I want to be very clear, there's a lot of women who didn't even come up here tonight that I've spoken to, many, and that there's actions being taken administratively in terms of protecting their channels and their discords and things. And I would tell everyone to, that's one of the big takeaways, right? Like, be careful online. Be careful. Don't come here thinking that everything is sweet all the time, right? Like, yes, Salty Brandy is an amazing person. I mean, Brandy is one of the people that would literally give you the shirt off of her back. And I get really upset when I hear about people like Brandy getting used by people that, can't keep it real. You know what I'm saying? These people don't deserve to come here, be compassionate, and get used, right? That's not what this is. This is something completely different. So we're coming up on the 2:30 mark. Does anyone have any comments they want to? I mean, does anyone else have anything they want to say? Miss Curie, you've been silent for quite a while. Hope you're still with us. You haven't fallen asleep on us.
No, I'm still here. And actually, yes, I'm glad you asked, because there is something else I do want to say. Because you asked me before what my breaking point was as far as all this was concerned. Everything you just heard was my breaking point, especially what you heard from Lily. Because the two of us have gotten really close. We talk to each other a lot. And she's told me everything that Mamita did to her, all the people that she turned against her. And it broke my heart. Because these people are people. I mean, Brandy, Casey, there are people, and it was just breaking my heart because she was in so much pain because this one bitch was telling people, and it was bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, I continue to hear wild shit that I haven't even heard from the last lady. And a lot of it is about my life or what I was doing or what I'm supposed to have been doing or whatever the case is. Like, and it's all like, let me tell you what, I've got to be more careful, right? Because I've seen, I've had to think about it. Like, for a while, I thought my picker was broke. No, my picker isn't broke. Man, we have built and been a part of something someone else has built here as a community for a long time before Mamita. And then people come in and, they throw the White Rapids kind of like on your boat, your lifeboat. And then you maneuver out of it, right? And there's a lot of ladies that have been friends here way before Mamita. Their friendships survived Mamita, and they'll continue to be friends after that. And that's a beautiful thing. And the chat this evening has been confirmation that it's the right thing, right? Because there's people in here I don't even know, like the Soul Sister lady. I've never even heard of you, man. You got a channel. You got this lady offering you VPN. And let's talk about that just for a moment. There was a point where Mamita had sent me a text that had all of what seemingly looked like. I never entered in one of her accounts. Never. Anytime I needed to look into, and the only thing I needed to look into was the stuff about the legal kidnapping. That's it. That message group is what I looked at once or twice. I think that I saw the majority of it, but so she was telling people that she was looking up, like it sent her an email or something saying, that I've been getting in her accounts. I don't even know that the stuff she sent me hooked up and opened up no accounts because I never put it in. And then when I see this Soul Sister lady say, oh, she tried to have me use the VPN and gave me all these accounts and passwords, like, yeah, that's what she does too, right? And yeah, there you go. And then it turns into a blame Penny, blame Fizzle. That's what it turns into. Like, I got at least about 4, 5, 6 women that are all like, I basically have proof, Benny, that this lady was trying to, or basically I have proof of her lying, trying to pull people away from you and this and that. And I'm just like, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. That is crazy.
She went down the line on whose fault it was and who was turning people against her.
That's nuts.
She just went down the line. It was everybody else's fault. And I just want to say one thing, Benny. I'm going to drop down, but the reason I really battled with this today, y'all, I really didn't want to come up here because I was hurt, and I deleted a lot of stuff. So no, I may not be able to show receipts, but there are plenty of people that have been on calls and have
Too many.
heard me cry over this. Cry for a month. Anytime I heard her live, when she'd go live, and if she was being vague and I knew that it was towards me, it hurt me. And the reason I went ahead and did this, because I figured Brandy wouldn't come up here. I didn't know if Little G would come up here. And I needed to speak my piece so other people can take their power back too, and they can heal.
Absolutely. Amen to that. Shit, yes.
And I love y'all. And Benny, Fizzle, thank you for being you. Like, for real.
Say, we got you, girl. Say, we got you, girl. We ain't going nowhere. We just, you know, man, the power of women together is a phenomenal thing. Look at all this. You know what I mean? Like, it's a phenomenal thing to watch a lot of these women who've been fucked up and left for dead by another woman all come back around the bull. You know what I mean? Like, she came in like an organism, everybody moved around it, and now everyone's over here, and here she goes trickling off. Like, man, fuck you for what you did to them people. All these people, all these good people, man. Fuck what you did to them. There was, you know, you've got messy shit online, you know, asking for money. Meanwhile, you got an ex, Mr. K. He pops on and says, "Oh, I paid plenty enough to pay for all of that." And then, you know, come to find out, you pay a low rate for your rooming and shit, and you're over here on YouTube asking for money for rent. Like, man, quit that. Quit messing with these people. Like, quit doing that. Yeah, there you go. Higher vibrations, Miss Bex. That's absolutely the truth. And you know what? I hate that even I had to be a part of this thing, because this is all women that put this together. This is all women to put this together. This just happened over here on Benny's channel, and Benny ended up being one of the places. I talked about it in a video before, like the physics of this shit. Like, she's the wall. Things were in motion. They hit her. They stopped. And then imagine the wall being like scared now and feeling like they're in danger and shit. After all the shit you done all over the internet, and now you're scared again. Well, like, you don't never make no formal announcement when you're not scared. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't just say, "Okay, guys, we're going to navigate through this part of YouTube. This is the part of me not being scared." You always telling somebody how you're scared and shit. So you got to stop the behaviors that, you know, is that the bird? You got to stop the behaviors that put you in this scenario. This ain't like one or two ladies. That's all right, Miss Lily. We got you, baby. This isn't one or two ladies. This is, man, like 1 or 2 dozen. Shit. Like, there's a lot of ladies that been in the path of this wrecking ball. And I hate it. Yes, Miss Jaded. Thank you. There are good men in this community. White Boy Lock Radio is not one. Moving forward.
Benny, I wanted to say also that this isn't something that all of us got together and just talked about and came up with.
No,
we all individually had our own stories that we began to piece together singly with Fizzle. And she was able to put them all together and realize they're all the same stories. So it's not that we're up here ganging up on Alisha, Alicia, or whatever. It has nothing to do with it. It is that, yeah, it's that we literally all, you could almost replicate each person's story word for word.
Word for word. It's hard. It's hard to make dozens of us liars.
Right.
It's hard to do that. You can make a few of us look like liars, but you ain't gonna make all of us look like liars. No, it ain't gonna happen. No, fuck around, get swallowed up by the internet. You know what I'm saying? They'll be saying shit like, "Oh, the website, the web got her." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What happened? The web got her. Don't be that person. Don't be that person. No, I mean, because then I start to think about the grandiosity of the whole thing. Like, how could you think you could piece together something like this and it wouldn't fall apart on you just like this? How can you do that?
And
You
how
can't
did
do
it go? How did it go on for so long? You know? Because we all had the same respect for you, though. I think that's what it
Well,
is.
That's what it is.
We all had
I
that
appreciate
same
it.
respect. Like, we ain't got
I've
no
heard that even from
business.
Nickilina today, right? Like
Right.
even she was like, well, you know, it's a certain thing. I thought it was this, and who am I? But then once she called it out, it changed, and so everyone's had a little bit of how should I say it? A lot of people have actually had many scenarios with this woman, not just one. There's some that have had just one scenario with her, and that was enough. There's many women that have had various scenarios with her, and you know, again, I feel terrible for that. Many people.
Well, and that's like Fizzle and I don't even talk off of here. And yet last night, everything I had wrote, you guys were talking about in a voice chat. I mean, so it's not like, anybody was, but she also made sure of that. Like, there was always the little doubt, like, Fizzle doesn't like you, she doesn't trust you, or, because she knew I wasn't as involved in the YouTube part of things, that she used that for her advantage. So it was always like, I'm going to keep you in the loop of everything that's going on.
But right
And
here.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a synonymous tune too. There is definitely, she has a MO. She has a modus operandi. Like she's going to get a group of people around her. Sometimes they're going to be together, but mostly compartmentalized, where she's got access to each of them outside of a group, but also kind of, vaguely in a group as well. But I mean, like you didn't mix with other folks. It was just you and her, right? There's many stories like that. But then there's stories like Lil G's where it was Brandy and Mamita and her and I hate that the internet is propped up by things like that. And that's the best way I could say it. I hate that it's propped up that way. People prop up their situations online behind a lie, and then this happens, and then still, let me tell you what happens. People walk away from this having done the right thing, but what happens is good people are like, man, I shouldn't have did that. I'll go through that tonight. Tonight, I'll go through feeling like, oh man, I shouldn't have did Mamita like that. But I'll get over it quick when I look at all the comments again, and that's helpful to me. So, I do, again, I want to take a moment to extend, my apologies to anybody that got hurt by that woman because they were loyal to the movement and what we stand for over here. And then they got hurt, right? I apologize for that, because I know there's many, I accept that that's part of having a platform like this, So with that, does anyone have any burning desires, comments, questions, concerns, something you got to get off your chest before, metaphorically, before we wrap this thing up?
Nope, I'm going to jump down. I appreciate the way you handled all this tonight. I appreciate you giving these ladies the space to kind of just let everyone know what's going on. Please protect yourself, people. And I know it's like so cliche and everybody says it, but shit gets real quick.
Man, hell yeah.
Yeah. But I'm going to drop down. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks, Penny.
Thank you for joining us, Miss Legit. Have a good night.
I'm going to drop down too.
All right, Miss Persevere, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Having the courage to come up and talk about your stuff, because a lot of people, it's not a courage issue necessarily, but a lot of people just weren't ready when today was the day. And I can understand that, and I can accept that as well. So thank you for having the courage to come up and do that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome, madam. Miss Kira, it was down to 2.
Yes, indeed. So anyway, don't be so hard on yourself. This needed to get out. People needed to hear this.
I agree.
I mean, granted, I didn't have much of a story to tell because the reason why that is because she couldn't come at me because Lily and I are so close. Like that's my spirit twin right there. So she knew that.
That's your spirit animal.
Yeah, exactly. She knew that there was no way she was going to turn me against anything, any way, any shape or form, nothing against Lily. So that's why she more or less left me alone. But because we are so close, Lily did tell me just about everything, and that broke me. It did. That's what broke me. She was broken, so I was broken, and I'm just glad that you decided to come up here and do this because this needed to get out. People need to hear this.
I just, you know what, I really actually hate the fact that, like, I felt like I gave some real estate after, you know, talking in the Discord and talking myself up to do this, and then having planned it so early in the day. I'm like, this woman's gonna reach out to me and be like, Benny, let's talk like this. Let's talk about some adult shit. You know, I felt like that was a possibility. And then I even did a video where I was like, man, look here, it's still time. You can still reach out to me and say, let's talk. And I would have to put the whole thing on pause. But you didn't do that. You had at least 2 opportunities to do that. So you're not blocked. You can text, you can call, either phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that didn't happen. You did some texting, but then when I put the shit out there this morning, you never, like, you could have, you know, and maybe she felt like she couldn't, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
She up and ran. There's no other way to put it, really. She up and ran.
Yeah, you ran from it. So
she did.
Thank you for coming here and being just a rock of support for the ladies that did have a hard time coming up. And I know that Lil G probably absolutely wasn't even planning on coming up here and doing none of that, but, you know, clearly the spirit moved her, you know?
She was not, but she was excellent. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The spirit moved her.
And thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Anytime and every time. You know that, baby.
Of course.
All right. Have a good night. Well, I want to take a moment and again applaud this awesome group of females that I've seen that come together. I see so many names right now that I don't even know. I see so many that I do know. And man, that's a beautiful thing to be accepted into, even just momentarily, into a group of women that can cohesive like this, be cohesive like this. It's a beautiful thing. I also, the picnic basket, man. The fucking picnic basket, man. Feel free to put middle fingers in the air one time for Alisha. Shit. Put some middle fingers. Let me see some middle fingers in the chat for Mamita. Even the church going folk, man. Just throw up. You can even do this and throw up a middle finger for her. This picnic basket, right? Man, handle your business and get back to those things that brought you here. We don't have to sit around here and do this every day about Mamita. We did it. Others have done it. If they decide to do it more, great on them, right? But get back to our picnic baskets, right? Thank you, Ms. Bex. I sure appreciate that, lovely. Thank you, madam. There is something to be said about YouTube romantics. Yeah, it's not romantic. However, the picnic basket. Get back to your damn picnic basket. Get back to the thing and try to figure out what is your thing. For me, it's the picnic basket. For some, it's the pillow. For others, it's you know, this or that. Like, get back to your Summer Wells thing, right? She's worth it, right? Meanwhile, thank you, Crimes. Thank you so much for that. Get back to your picnic basket. Whatever case it is. It doesn't have to be Summer Wells' case if that's not what you're here for per se. But get back to the thing in true crime that brought you here. Because let me tell you what, Mamita didn't bring you here, baby. I didn't bring you here. These kids brought you here. These families, these broken people, they're what brought us here. And then in light of, or in spite of ourselves, we got this kind of shit going on. So yeah, fuck off, get some help. If you need some help, my line's open. I don't really know nothing about resources in your area, but I'm sure you can find them as easy as me, whatever, right? I love all of you individually. I love A special love for my moderators and my administrators here, and special love for the ones, especially for the ones that are in the Discord. Man, y'all mean the world to me, man. I don't even want to tell you, because then you have something on me, right? But you know, thank you. It makes transitions better. You understand me? Thank you, Jinx. Whew. Yes, we'll be getting back into the true crime almost primarily. But then again, I said almost primarily. I love all of y'all individually. Remember, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. Man, get back to your picnic basket.